Welcome back. It is time for a special edition of Cowboys Game Plan. I'm Mike. That is Slater. So this is the week, man. Week 4. Here it comes. The Death Star looms above AT&T Stadium, awaiting the return, the arrival of the man known as Micah Parsons.
You were the chosen one! It was said that you would destroy the Sith, not join them!
There's your tribute. The rebellion lives. There is hope. It is war. So, with that being said, this is a big week for the Dallas Cowboys, Slater. So, what do you think? With offense, who is the best starting offensive line for Dallas to put in this game? With the news of Tyler being out, Tyler Booker, our first round draft pick, being out with a high ankle sprain. What is the optimal offensive line you think would be most effective for what we need to do against the Packers?
Yeah, I think for this game in particular, I'll work from left tackle to right tackle. Obviously, I'm going to have to stick with Guyton, of course, and then at center will go Hoffman, right guard will go Bass, right tackle will go Steele, and then left guard we're going to go Tyler Smith. I'm going to keep it how it is. I know there's been some critiques about Nate Thomas coming in and doing the job, and I think he should come in and do the job. But I don't know if this is the right game to do it. I don't know if it's in your best interest to bring in Nate Thomas on a game where Micah Parsons is looking to, like you said, bring the Death Star and blow up the stadium. And so, in my opinion, I keep it with the same front five, and I think I have full confidence in Bass being able to step in and Hoffman still being able to step up. And maybe Guyan and Steele have something in store for us. Maybe they have, an ability that kind of takes them, maybe not takes them to the next level forever, but maybe for this game, they know they have to lock in.
No, 100%. And I think, TJ Bass and Brock Hoffman played the entire preseason together. So just for commonality and continuity on the offensive line, I think that's the optimal idea. Now, I will say this: if you're looking for just pure raw power, you know, maybe Nate Thomas is the way to go. It just really depends on how much, because I think they're definitely going to have to utilize all of our tight ends in this game, because some of the things that were said for the offense by Schottenheimer was, they're going to attack. They have to attack the defense. And that defense includes, Micah Parsons. But offensively, I think they're going to utilize tight ends, especially in that scenario. So it's going to be interesting to see I know they're holding everything close to the vest, but it's going to be pretty interesting to see what offensive line comes out to start the game.
Yeah, speaking of tight ends, it's funny because Spanford and Ferguson are very similar in the way they play, and a lot of people have been giving Ferguson some hate, which, I'm not the biggest fan on hating on him right now. I think it's a little premature, but I think he's a great tight end still. I think he just needs to get his head back in the game. It seems like something's a little off right now. And then Spanford, he's been playing really well, and he's got that blocking ability with him. That's kind of what something Ferguson lacks, but his receiving skills are unmatched, right? So I'm excited to see them both. Schoonmaker, I hope he can just bring the blocking, right? I don't need him to be a crazy receiving tight end this week. I just need him to be the running blocking tight end we need, just in case.
No, I totally agree with you. So with the injuries that we have, this is basically phone a friend offense, right? So who do you think needs to next man up? Who really needs to have a standout game? Which offensive players do you see them utilizing the most, and who's going to have to stand out for us to have offensive success without Ceedee Lamb?
It's going to have to be George Pickens. It's an obvious choice here, but for George Pickens to be successful in this game, it's going to be everything that Dallas hoped they were going to get when they trade for him. The hard route running, the deep ball threat, being able to take that double team coverage and allow other receivers to get open. Kind of like what Ceedee Lamb was doing for all the receivers last year. It's time for George Pickens to step up and do that. The past couple weeks he's had some great great, DPIs called for the team and stuff like that. But it's time for him to execute, and it's time for him to do what we traded for him to do, which is be a threat, be George Pickens, be the dog from Georgia. We don't mind the attitude as long as it doesn't cost you
No.
a penalty. We do not. We really don't. I don't mind I don't mind it. If you get one penalty and it happened to be for the right reasons and the momentum change, cool. I'm here for it. Players need to have that dog mentality, and I'm hoping George Pickens brings it this week because for the Packers, he's going to need it.
No, I agree with you. I think this is going to have to be a game where the tight ends play really, really well. The last time we played the Packers on the back half, Ferguson went off.
Yeah.
He had a good game, and the Bears allowed him to take everything under the middle. I think we can do that even if they don't want us to because our tight ends are just really, really good. I think you made a great call out in Brevin Spanford. I think he's going to have to. I think both tight ends are going to have success. They're going to have to. It's going to be required that they have a good game.
Yeah.
Speaking of phone a friend, what do you think? Why haven't we heard anything with the situation that we're in? Why haven't we heard anything about Jadon Blue and Trayshawn Holden? Trayshawn Holden would be a great asset to bring up right now. Why don't you think they've done that?
I want to say they're holding their cards close to the chest, like you said. My biggest thing is that with them not really putting Ceedee on IR or anything like that yet, they haven't
Sure.
promoted anybody. But of course, when game day comes, you can put people inactive, and then you have 3 times you can promote a practice squad player before you have to
Right.
officially decide to sign them or not. Which is why we kind of ran into that Zion Childress, which we can talk about another time. But that's kind of the situation we're running into with him. But the biggest thing is I don't know. I kind of like the mystery. It's
Yeah.
interesting. I don't know if Trayshawn Holden comes in and brings that much of an impact for this kind of game, but I do believe that Jadon Blue could bring a potential to the game, especially if you were to give him at least 5 carries, I'd say. But I'm not really
Or even
so.
or even move him out to a wide receiver. I mean, he caught more passes as a wide receiver than any other running back in college
Yeah,
football. So
and for me, I'd love for both those guys to be promoted and play. But my
sure.
biggest thing is if George Pickens and Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders, they're not doing their job. Those guys aren't going to have a chance. They're not going to be open. Because those are
Right.
guys that are going to come in and be like a fresh legs on these DBs that the Packers have, and they're going to be someone who you can try to burn them with, right? But well, if Javonte's not running the ball well and George Pickens is not, making them have to sit back or making him a threat, it's not going to matter because then they'll just start single covering and you won't get nothing open. It's going to be a bad night at that point.
No, I agree, but I think it would also be better to have them and not need them than need them and not have them
Oh,
available for the game.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So I'm really
totally agree
hoping.
with that.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that at the last minute we will hear some movement in that
Mm-hmm.
department, and we'll know that those players are going to be available to us because it's all hands on deck. This is a
Oh,
major
yeah.
game. Now, I will say I do feel like offensively we're going to have success.
Mm-hmm.
I have a good feeling about the game. I have a good feeling about what we can do to move the ball. I think there's some opportunities for us there. How do you feel? How do you feel this game is going to go for Dallas specifically offensively? How do they maintain drives?
Yeah, before I answer that, let me ask you this. Why do you
Sure.
feel good about this game? Because I feel great about this game too, and I have my reason for this.
Yeah.
But let's say
Yeah.
this was the Mike McCarthy of coaching this year and behind that.
Right.
Would you still feel good about this game? Or is it because Schottenheimer brings kind of like that we are going to make changes and he's kind of like promoting that coaching that Dallas has kind of been looking for? Is that why you say that? Or are you saying that because we kind of taken some bad losses and now we're ready to the team is ready to mentally step up to the challenge.
I think it's a combination of both. I think Mike McCarthy would just do what he normally does and expects the talent of the players on the field to just win out, right? But in this situation, there's some of that involved, but at the same time, things need to change. We're our backs are against the wall. This is a home game. It's a significant game. It's a conference game. It's a game against a team that embarrassed us the last time we were truly competitive, and it's going to show a lot. You know, if anybody were to go back and listen to some of our earlier podcasts this year, one of the things that Slater said is what's going to determine how this head coaching staff is perceived is how they deal with animosity in situations like they're about to be in on Sunday. Remember
Exactly.
that, right? So I do feel like, now I'm not saying that I'm guaranteeing a win or anything like that, but I can tell you this: on the offensive side of the ball and defenses, we're not talking about defense right now, but on that side of the ball as well, I feel like Dallas is going to play very well in this game. Winning or losing, that's a different scenario, but I do
Hmm.
feel like we will see significant progress in the effort and success of which we play. So I think it's some of that. I think it's that. And then I think obviously Schottenheimer's attitude and his determination to make the team better and do the things he says he's going to do is going to pay off on Sunday.
Yeah, and I'll give you a quick answer. I totally agree with everything you said. That's why I asked it. I was just curious if we're on the same page here.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
I definitely agree with the coaching mentality, right? Like you called out that I said a couple weeks ago. This is the kind of game that I kind of want Schottenheimer in because you're back against the wall. You got really nothing to lose, but your season's kind of, in the line here. 1-3 is not good. 2-2 is a lot better, though, right? Always.
Right.
So, but to get back to your question, to really kind of sustain drives on the offensive side and figure out a way to stay on the field, it's going to be about time of possession, right? But the
Sure.
biggest thing I noticed from what made the Browns so successful throughout the duration of the game is yes, and we'll talk about the other way, but their defense is really good. We all know that. They have a defensive front that's like no other. Number one ranked defense in the NFL. But on the offensive side in the late game, Judkins was a big piece for them, the running the ball. They found a really good way to attack the defensive ends and attack those linebackers to get that ball. He had, let me see here, I have it wrote down, 18 carries for 94 yards and that one touchdown to end up tying the game 10-10. I bring that up because if one thing that Dallas got away from in Chicago was running the ball, they got caught up in the mess. And so instead of
Right.
sticking to what our fundamentals were for like weeks 1 and 2, we got to like, oh, we need to hurry and get back in this. So pass, 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 pass. Yeah, 10 carries, but Javonte was
Right.
carving them up for 7.6 a carry because he had 76 yards. And it's like Schottenheimer. Those are the moments I need to see. It's Schottenheimer should be like,
Passes in the end zone, right?
yeah, it's like that goal line play. They should have third and goal, run it twice. I
At
would
least
be,
once, right? Yeah.
yeah. And so those are the moments I'm talking about for Schottenheimer where it's like, hey, we can run the ball here. So if he runs it a couple times and Javonte's averaging 4 or 5, and let's say we get down, don't get away from your scheme. The Browns did it the whole time. They stuck to what they were good at. Joe Flacco, they're like, we're not forcing Joe Flacco to drop back 50 times today. We're going to keep running the ball. We trust our defense. So hopefully your defense gives you a chance first off like the Browns did. But I believe that we have to run the ball.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to slow this game down. We need to execute very well on the ground game. We need to execute very well with our tight ends, take the shots when we can. We have to utilize the speed that we do have on the field with Turpin. There are plays that are designed for him. He's the fastest guy on the field most of the time. Dak is going to have to play well, and he's also going to have to take a couple shots here and there when Turpin gets separation. Pickens is going to Pickens. If you throw him the ball and it's within his vicinity, chances are he's going to catch it, or they're going to try to, push him around and get flagged for it, which is just as good. But they're going to do what they can to take him away from us. So we're going
Yeah.
to have good effort from the tight ends, Tolbert, Turpin. That's why I really wish that we had some, and we may have some tools that haven't been exposed to us yet that will be available for this game.
Hmm.
But I think it's a time of possession game. Minimize the big plays. I'm not asking for them to, for a shutout, but they do have to minimize the success that the Packers have,
Yeah.
and I think we're equipped to do that if everybody plays to the level that they need to play to. Do you
What?
have anything else for offense before we
Yeah,
move
I
on?
wanted to ask you, the
Sure.
biggest thing about the Packers defensive line that I've noticed is they like to do stunts and twist, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to get Parsons up the middle, they're trying to get Rashawn Gary up the middle, and they're trying to, kind of like pick the scrub, right? Do you feel, and I think the Browns had a good idea of how to do it, but even with our injuries, do you feel the offensive line will have good communication this week on passing those kind of blocks off, even though you have Bass being plugged in and Hoffman has a weekend. Do you think we're going to be able to handle those twists?
I do actually. I think people are kind of underestimating our offensive line play. I think
Mhm.
both of our lines play well as far as what happens on the line of scrimmage. Now, I am excluding pass rush from this, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
When it comes to just job assignment and being prepared and holding the line, our line plays well. We
Mhm.
haven't seen a lot of stunts and twists yet, but none of these guys on our line don't know what that is or how to handle that or how to play this game. A lot of these linemen we've had for a significant amount of time, they kind of know what to expect from their brother beside them. They know how Dak's going to react and what he's going to do. Dak is going to have to pay attention though, because like you said, they're going to do everything they can to get to him, and I'm sure they'll have success at times. He's just got to stay focused. But yeah, I think the line will perform well enough for us to compete.
Yeah, totally agree. I think, but that's kind of like one of the other bigger things I'm watching for is that communication between the offensive line, so we can be able to run the ball and then hopefully set up that play action and stuff. So I just was curious and wanted to ask you, so we can move
Sure,
forward.
absolutely. All right. So moving on to defense. Who's your Huckleberry? So who on the Packers defense is a target for us?
Man, I'm gonna go back to what the Browns did really well at the end of the game. It was Judkins. They ran it up the middle. Them trading Kenny Clark. I mean, as much as when they got Micah Parsons, their D tackle, that front is hurting a little bit when you can run up the middle. They were able to get good push on those two D tackles and was successful running the dives and between the guards. So I think that's kind of where you need to pick on them. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I mean, 18 carries for 94 yards is a pretty good game for a front that's supposed to be unstoppable, right?
Right. Yeah. I think this is going to have to be a linebackers game, for our offense versus the Packers defense. I think we're going to have to take advantage of the seams and, the flats. I don't know how much opportunity we'll get over the top because they have pretty strong cornerbacks and good safeties, but we're going to have to definitely control the line of scrimmage in the run game and definitely take advantage of wherever they're lying because they're going to blitz, they're going to twist, and they're going to stun, and
Mm-hmm.
that's going to leave spots open for us. It's just going to be about Dak having a capable player there or receiver there to catch the ball for him. So if
Totally.
they do that, I think we'll have success. I can't target one specific player on the Packers defense that I think is the most vulnerable, but in my opinion, with the game plan that we need to go into the game with, I think that's the area we would have to focus our attack. Running the ball is definitely going to be key.
Yeah, it matches up with what you said. I mean, like you said, tight ends are going to be a big part of this, right? Well, those linebackers are most likely going to be on those tight ends, and so them being able to make quick routes or being able to get open and find those gaps for Dak to be able to dump that ball off real quick instead of trying to dump it off to the running back every time, being able to check down for 5 yards to Ferguson, span forward, and stuff like that will be huge. So I like
Right.
it.
Yeah. I watched no film this week on the Packers. I know what they can do. I know what they've done.
Hmm.
I'm familiar with that team. I don't really care about them right now. I don't want, I'm being honest. I don't even want to
Yeah.
give them the time to study them. This is about Dallas.
Yeah.
We have talent on our team. Will the talent play to the level that they need to play to? That is the question. We need a pass rush. You know, we I work in sales. You've worked in sales. There's an old line that says when your business is struggling, sales cure all.
Hmm.
Right? Well, in football, pass rush on defense cures all. Right? So, our defensive line, the inner defensive line, is the most dominant force we have on defense. They're going to play well.
Yep.
If we can, with Clowney coming out, this is he's definitely playing. I know they're talking about he's building up to playing, arrows up. The man will be on the field. We have no
I
choice.
agree. 100%.
So if he can provide even a little bit of help to where he's disruptive enough between him, Kenny Clark, Solomon, Odigizua, and Clowney out there that they have to start, shifting protections, it's going to leave opportunities for Fowler and Azaraku to finally get home on this thing. They've been getting pressure, but it's not significant. It's not disruptive pressure. It's
Mm-hmm.
stat pressure, which means they're closing the pocket. They're squeezing the quarterback's pocket. They're just not disrupting him, sacking him, or moving off his spot. We're that close. If we can just get there, it will make a difference in this game. I
Mm-hmm.
would like to see them play a lot of too high safety. How do you think Dallas should play defense? What are you expecting from the defense? Are you expecting? I know there's a lot of questions, but this is important.
Yeah.
What players are you expecting to see that we haven't maybe seen as much of in the rotation this week versus Green Bay?
I'm expecting Javion Clowney to hopefully start. I mean, as wild as
Right.
that is, I know he hasn't played, but I just don't think that you need to roll, the same four out there. I'd like to see Clowney start. Maybe he gets a play or two in and comes off the field.
Sure.
But I definitely would like to see him start. I think for rotation wise, Leafau and some of our quicker linebackers need to be in the game. I'm not the biggest fan of Sanborn anymore. Kenneth Murray, I can kind of bounce around. I'm kind of up and down. It's like a wave. Sometimes he makes great plays, and then sometimes like he looks lost, right?
Right.
But he is fast, and he looks like he's somebody that has been improving since week one, slowly, surely, right? So I don't mind him being in the game. I don't know what to do about the safeties though. I mean, that one is tough. Like you say stay cover two. It feels like we've been trying to play cover two, and it's really like burnt toast cover two. I don't even know what to call it. So I'm hoping that if Schottenheimer's talking about personnel changes or something like that, that maybe Donovan Wilson only comes in the game when they're wanting to roll him in the blocks or blitz him, and then they put in Wanye Thomas or Marquise Bell out there. I don't know. And then I've heard some things where it's like, do they put Leafau and Marquise Bell out there? And Bell played linebacker for us 2 years ago. I know it wasn't like ideal. Unfortunately, his last game at linebacker was Aaron Jones running down his throat in the wild card game. But there's a lot of potential for this week, and I'm happy to hear that Eberflus has simplified things. Now they say these things like this, but will it actually turn into results? I'm hoping it is. If it's one words to make things simple, great. At this point, we need simple, and that we need to be consistent. I don't care if they still get a couple D plays. If I can say, okay, well, we were still consistent on every play when I go back and look at the film after this, then I can be happy because I see improvement, not just like, oh my gosh, we're getting
Blown
bombed every
assignments.
play. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not so much worried about the defensive line. I think they'll do their job. Hopefully,
Mm-hmm.
they can generate some pass rush with the additional help. That's great. Now, linebackers. I would like to see them keep that same lineup out there. I'd like to see Sanborn. I'd like to see Kenneth Murray out there. That doesn't mean I don't want to see Maurice or Shamar or anything like that. I've heard all week of the changes that are being made and the effort to simplify the play calls for the defense. I want to see the guys that everybody has put on the starting lineup in the depth chart play with that simplified defense so I can get a read on, is this just confusion or is this just inability, right? And if we've simplified the defensive play calls and our guys still are blowing assignments, well, then we know there's no
Mm-hmm.
more excuses. It is time to start rotating players in at the linebacker level. We've got Diggs, we've got Bland. They're both going to start. Elam in the nickel. If we want to put Bland in the nickel in scenarios, we can do that as well. That only applies to cornerback and linebacker. When we get to safeties, from the 35 to the 35, I do not want to see Donovan Wilson in the game. I don't. I want to see Wanye Thomas.
Yeah. Now,
He's much more rangy. He's quicker. He's faster. He's taller. He's better at deep coverage than Donovan Wilson is. Now, inside the 35 red zone, Donovan Wilson is fine, assuming applying the same theory that the simplified defense helps everybody know their assignment. But again, we will find out. But I think that the defense is going to play better than it has of any of the past 3 games. I'm not saying that leads to a win. I'm saying that leads to better play.
yeah, it's kind of funny that you mentioned Wanye Thomas because it just hit my head earlier. I was like, I've never really dug into Wanye Thomas before, and I did a little research on him. He's from Georgia Tech. I did not realize he's only 25 years old. I've been thinking that this guy was like 30s, and he's been this special teams guru forever. And I was like, I must get him mixed up with someone else. I think we had a special teams guy here forever, but the point being is that maybe this is time for Wanye Thomas to step up and maybe potentially get some playing time on defense. We've been having him for the special teams unit, but maybe this is his time to step up. And then when it comes to the cornerbacks, how do you feel about Reddy Stewart in the nickel and Elam really not being on the field at all? And it's really Bland, Diggs on the outside, and Reddy Stewart in the nickel.
I want the most talented person on the field for every position under this new simplified defensive one-word system, just for them to get the opportunity to pass or fail.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Even
No,
if
for
it's
sure.
for 3 plays of a drive, still not getting it, you're out. But I think that a lot of these players are in the role they're in because they're the most qualified and most capable. So I want them to have every opportunity to prove that they can do it before we bring in someone who could potentially be less talented and less capable.
Mm-hmm.
I know that doesn't make sense because they're not performing, but the responsibility doesn't seem to only fall on them. They are professional athletes who are very capable. So we will see on that.
Yeah. No,
I
mean,
I think it's crazy. We could even see Roddy Stewart, Reddy Stewart end up playing safety. I mean, you just don't know what they're gonna do. They
yeah.
can put Elam up there. I have no idea what's coming. I'm excited about it. I know something's going to change.
I mean, you're doing process of elimination. That's what we talked about in our reaction video. Is we can't tell if it's coaching, personnel, and so if you do put the same lineup out there and you did do the simplifying part, and Schottenheimer and the coaching staff knows that this is all simplified, you can't make it any simpler.
And now.
Then now it's a personnel problem, and I totally agree. I think it makes total sense. I'm definitely not disagreeing. I was just asking just players in general because I was just curious on your opinion.
It's a great question. I'm excited to see what they do.
Yeah, I am too, and I think that's a great call out. Is they should still roll out that starting D and at least see for a couple plays if it's personnel or coaching, and then as fans we can see that it was simplified. You can tell. Now, Kyrie Elam, you cannot cover nobody. You are the Buffalo traded you for a reason. I'm not saying that's the case, but that could be the reason.
You're the scrub. It's you. I love it. So I'm gonna do a couple things. I'm gonna give you a name of a player, and you're gonna tell me what your stock value is in them, and we're gonna call it stars up, a stars down.
Okay.
Kenneth Murray.
Is it based off of like week 1 to now, or talking about recent week?
Everything we've seen.
I'm gonna go star down. I can't do it. I mean, I know people are saying there's little improvements and stuff like that, but I'm going star down. Not until I see the simplified defense, and for you, his coverage has got to be better. I've seen him make some great plays in the run game, and he's got speed and he's fast and he hits. His effort is there, but his mental game he's got to get to another side. I'm gonna go star down.
Fair. All right, Kyer Elam, stars up or stars down?
Star down. I mean, I hope to see this change, but his coverage skills right now, whether it's like I just said, the personnel, or whether it's his skills, or whether it's the coaching and simplifying things, it's a star down because what I've seen is he's like 20 yards upfield and the receiver already cut, and he's not coming down anytime soon. So star down.
All right, last one for the defense, Donovan Ezeraku.
No star? Up or down?
Wow, just no love for anybody on the defense for the Cowboys.
I mean, I'll go star up. I mean, he just needs to find a way, like I talked about before, to be able to find some finesse in his game. He's got to he's putting a lot of effort. All three, I mean, except for I'm gonna give Kyrie.
He's the one performing the best, actually, and he's getting the closest. So.
Yes, he is getting the closest. I need him to get home. Yeah.
Right.
I like when it comes to Murray and Ezeraku, I give them like A pluses for effort because they are doing it. They're playing their hearts out. Kyrie Elam, I'm not giving no credit to. I ain't doing it. Not until I see it.
All right, moving on to the offense. Stars up, stars down. Javonte Williams.
Star up. Up, 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 up. Give him 5 stars. I don't know what the max is, but give him the max right now. He's deserved it. He's done nothing but been a blessing for Dallas. He's been something that we've missed since Prime Zeke back in 2016 to 2018. And he has really brought a different aspect to the offense to give some relief off of Dak and not have to drop back 50 times.
All right, I got it. Stars up, stars down. Jalen Tolbert.
Um, I'm gonna go star down. It's the effort for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the fumble at the end of the day, Javonte Williams got to hold on to the ball, but at the same time, you put a little effort into it. Like I've seen some plays on the film from the Chicago game where he's just like in people's way. Like, come, keep blocking, keep running that route harder. He's gonna have to step up this week. So I'm going star down from the last game.
Yeah, as far as being a number 3 receiver, I'm just not seeing. I'm not seeing enough production out of him.
Exactly.
I know he's made some plays, but it's got to be something that when we need somewhere to go, you make a play. When our ones and twos can't get it done, so I agree with you there.
No
Last
better
one,
opportunity. Yeah, no better opportunity than now.
100%. All right, so this is the last one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Brian Schottenheimer, stars up, stars down.
Stars up. Stars up all
it.
day. He's been nothing but a blessing. I know the 1-2 record doesn't reflect it, but I think Dallas fans understand that he is providing at least what he's been promising. The culture's been there, the fight's been there, the ability to admit that you're not doing well has been there. It's not like oh yeah, we're gonna fix things. You have seen improvements from the personnel. Maybe or you've seen improvements as a coaching staff in Dallas, and not maybe on the defensive side, but the offensive side. But
Sure.
it stars up for him. I mean, he's doing nothing but everything he can. Now, this week will prove a lot. I could say on Monday that is stars down, depending on if nothing really does get fixed and we just look bad again. But for the moment,
100%.
stars up.
Okay, cool. So, what do you think? How are we going to win this game? Is this going to be a game where we're going to win this with a great defensive performance, or are we going to win this game with a great offensive performance?
It's going to be a great defensive performance. And I say this because I think the Packers are going to try to force the passing game a little bit too much, in my opinion. And I think maybe our defense is ready to step up to the challenge, especially with Bland Diggs back. I think that provides a really different element. Now, where they play Bland, I don't know. But if they play them both on the outside, I think that's going to bring a different element than people are expecting. And then if they change out Donovan Wilson and Hooker for maybe some different safeties to at least rotate in, not like full time take their job, but rotate. I think if they can provide a good rotation, I think it's going to be a great defensive game. I think they're even going to try to run the ball and try to show Kenny Clark that, like, hey, bro, like, we're fine without you. And I think it's going to get stuffed. I think Javion Clowney also brings a different element to this too. And I know he's not like prime Javion Clowney, but if he can provide that pressure, it may help out Ezraku. He may get home this week because they're like, oh, we got Kenny Clark and we got Osa, and now we got Javion Clowney. Ezraku's not really our worry, and all of a sudden Ezraku's like, bam, and he's coming around the corner hot.
That's what I'm hoping for.
I just feel when Clowney wasn't in last week, they were like, we contain Osa and Kenny Clark in the middle, and then Sam Williams is really not a threat, so we're going to focus on Ezraku because he's really more of a threat to us. But this week, you got to choose.
Sure. I think this is going to have to be a great offensive performance. We're going to have a great day out of our running backs, and we're going to have a great day from our tight ends, not just in the offensive pass catching capacity, but we're going to have to utilize them to keep Dak clean. Dak is going to have to be efficient and precise in this game. And that's either, using the tight ends as weapons or using them as shields so that him and Javonte can get the workload done. And we're going to have to beat the Packers up for 5-6 minute drives in order to minimize the time it's going to take them to score on our defense as low as possible, right?
Yeah. And I'm hoping that this one word solution that they got talking about on the defensive side is effective to a point where let's say Jordan Love throws a big play to Matthew Golden and they're down to the 35 or on our side. keep your composure. You know,
Right.
let's turn that drive
Don't
that looked like it.
overreact to cause another explosive play
Yeah,
right on top of it. Let's not compound the
exactly.
problem. Right.
Turn touchdown drives into field goals. Defenses do it to Dallas all the time. We drive, we look great, then we get stopped and it's a field goal. There's nothing more annoying than an offense getting down to your 20 or in your red zone twice and they got to kick a field goal twice. And now it's only 6-0, right? And then all of a sudden Dak and the boys go score. Now it's 7-6 and you have the lead. That's the biggest thing for the Dallas defense. No, I don't need shutouts. Turn 7 into 3 and that's a win for me.
Right. I agree with you. Minimize the explosives. Just contain them and slow them down. Don't blow big plays open, and we might have a shot at this. So, are you want to do predictions, or are we just going to wait and see? By the way, while you think about that, we're actually going to be at that game this week. We'll figure out something. We'll do some special stuff, get some pictures, maybe bring a souvenir that a lucky fan could get. But if you would, just please like and subscribe to our videos if you like our content. We'll keep doing it. We'll put out, field study or film studies and reviews and things like that. So please like and subscribe. So what do you think? Are we doing predictions?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's hit
All
it.
right, you go first.
Give me 24-21 Dallas, and it's a biased score, but I love it.
I'm going 35-31 Dallas at home. We
Woo!
blow up the Death Star and send Micah Parsons regretfully
Who
back
who's
to Cheeseland.
who's flying the X-wing? Who's dropping the bomb?
Jadeveon Clowney with a
Oh man.
closeout sack.
Oh man, I love it. I love it. Yeah, like you said, man. We appreciate. We hit 50 subscribers today as we're
Yes,
recording this.
thank
So
you.
man, we're happy for every one of y'all that are here. We're just here to connect with y'all, like I've been saying since the beginning. So comment, like, subscribe. We would love to connect with y'all on Twitter too. So be more than happy to have those discussions and let's have conversations. We're here to learn from y'all, and maybe we can learn from you too.
All right, well, that'll do it for this one. We will see you at the game.